look at the debates, that debate that happened yesterday in the evening, and do you think really it will have any significance on the ratings now on the presidential candidates, depending on how they answered the questions and how they tackled the issues?
Hard to say. We do have a number of undecided voters spread across the country. I can also say that as I speak to you now, well, we've been doing a poll through the course of today, and tomorrow afternoon we'll release it, looking at how voters in general and undecided voters in particular responded to that debate last night. So any comment I would make would be speculation. My personal impression was none of the candidates committed any major error. I think they all performed quite well. The fact that the candidates who have been leading in the polls were present with those who are getting much less support through these polls, they were all there together. I think there was a gesture of comradeship, that they're all in this race. Perhaps the overall impact, and as I say, it's a little bit too early to tell, is that those people, voters, who might have been leaning to make a final choice now between those who are leading in the race, may say, listen, if nobody's going to win on the first round, and we have so many other up-and-coming candidates, even if they're scoring very little, let's vote for them on the first round and save our real serious vote for the second one, even though we heard the Minister of Finance last week encouraging Kenyans to make up their mind and vote for one of the main contenders this time to save the Treasury some money. So it'll be very interesting to see, together with the second debate, whether this coming together of all the candidates in one forum rather than dividing them between the sort of top-ranked contenders and the others will actually encourage people to cast their votes more widely on the first round, assuming that a second round would then give them an opportunity to make a final choice.
The main objective of that debate was to help Kenyans make a decision on just who should be Kenya's next president, depending on the issues that are there and how well they will tackle those issues. Tell me, from where you stand, are we at a point where Kenyans will cast their votes depending on issues? You have spoken to the people, you know, you do the opinion polls. When you ask your questions, does it lean towards issues or personalities?
Very difficult to divide the two, because when we ask the question in another poll, which of these two views is closest to your own with regard to the presidency? A, whether the president should be the one who is most capable of dealing with the country's challenges, regardless of his ethnic background or her ethnic background, or B, because the presidency has been held by only two ethnic groups since independence, it's better if the fourth president of Kenya be from a different ethnic group. We got something like 85% of Kenyans who went for the first one. It should be the most capable person. So at least on that basis, it's not ethnicity, at least in the minds of these respondents in our surveys, and I think they were answering what they felt was an honest answer.
Okay.
How these factors actually mix on the ground when we see the country polarized in a certain extent is difficult to disentangle, but as I said before, keeping in mind that there are many Kenyans from ethnic communities that do not have a presidential candidate, and no president can win this race on the first round or second without having a very multi-ethnic rainbow group of voters behind him or her.
Finally, before I let you go, we have the issue of the middle class. They have been accused really of not taking part in the political process in this country. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, from some of our surveys, looking at who participated, who voted in the referendum and past elections and so on, people from the middle class usually have more information about politics. They have more access to media because of their relative affluence. So their levels of participation are usually quite high. The problem is, or the issue is, the fact that when you actually disaggregate the population by economic class, the so-called middle class, and if I could just say perhaps people who are making $35,000 a month and above, are actually a very, very small fraction of the population. I can't give you the exact figure now, but somewhere around 10 to 12%. So no matter how much they participate,
they really won't make a difference.
They're not going to make a huge difference. They'll make some difference in a close race, but I think we can see those figures as we talked earlier about, for example, the gubernatorial race in Nairobi.
Okay, Tom, we have to end it there. Thank you so much, Tom Wall from Ipsos Synovate, breaking down the numbers and the factors that contribute to the popularity of some candidates in the just released